Hey folks, it's Mike the Butcher. Today we're going to do something a little different. Normally, we don't make turduckens in my store, but I had a customer, came in, asked for a favor, couldn't find one anywhere around here, couldn't find anybody that went to a bunch of places, nobody really knew how to make them, or they only had the frozen one. I know how to make them, and you do right by the customer as much as you can, especially around the holidays. So, we're going to make a turducken. For those that don't know, that's a turkey that's boned out, left predominantly whole, stuffed with a duck that's then stuffed with a chicken, both of which have been boned out as well. And in between that, there's layers of stuffing. I made a nice cornbread stuffing, as you can see here. A lot of people put andouille sausage in a turducken too. Instead of putting the sausage into the bird itself, I put it right into the stuffing. That way, as it cooks, the flavor goes right through the bird as well. So, we lost you there. Boning out a turkey is not as hard as it seems. Jesus. It's a pretty simple process. So, I've already got this side down, so I'm going to show you. There's the spine. All you're going to do is take your knife and trace down right along the edge of that spine. You just got to make sure that when you get down to where the keel bone is, you don't go too far, because then you leave a hole in it, and it's a little tough to leave it whole if you cut all the way through. So now we're going to do this side. We're going to start right along the spine here. It helps if you get a hold of it from the inside. And this is not as intimidating. It looks intimidating, folks, but it's really not hard. You're going to come right along here, right down along the tail, and you're just going to let gravity do the work for you. Just trace. All you're doing is tracing along the bones that you'll feel with your knife. You can turn it to give yourself a hand once you got it opened up. Turn it towards you, and you'll get down to where the thigh bone meets, and you'll just open that joint up and just cut in just a little bit. Just use the tip of your knife in between where that thigh meets. I'm trying to show you here if I can get it opened up enough. Okay, there we are. There's where the thigh meets right into the bird itself. That's part of it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cut right where that joint meets, right where that goes into the bird, and it'll pop loose. And then you're just going to continue to trace all the way down. You're going to have the same issue up front here where the wing bone comes in. Gravity's going to help you in this matter. It's going to give you a hand and do most of the work for you, because it's going to want to fall away. So once you get those joints exposed, you're just going to pop them right out. You'll see it right in there. And once you get that joint opened up, again, gravity is going to do the work for you. There we are. See? Now we've got all of that off the carcass, so that bottom's all loose. Now we're just going to trace right around here. There's that wing joint I was talking about. You can see it right there. You can actually hear it. You want to get that off, pop that out. There we are. And you're just going to trace down around the bottom of the carcass, not too far, because like I said, you don't want to make a hole. So, now we got the wing separated out, and you're just going to come right down this carcass side here. And once you get down to the bottom, you want to be super careful. So now, you're just going to pick this up, and you can see this keel bone right here. See that? That's the part that's got to come off, but you got to take it off whole. So, what we're going to do, you're going to grab it in the front, take that little bit of extra off, and you're just going to barely, and then you're going to pull. Barely touch the knife to it, and it'll come right out. That whole keel bone is going to pop right away without making the turkey not whole. Sometimes you got to do a little more work, but you can always take a little more work, but once you make a hole in it, you can't do less. So you still got a little bit of ways to go here. And there you go. Now you've got a nice, see, got the carcass off it, and we've got a nice whole turkey, no carcass in the middle. Now, for the first part, we're only going to take the thigh bones out and the ends off the wingtips. That's you leave that part on so it still looks like a turkey when you're done, rather than just a big barrel. So the thigh bone's very easy. It already shows you where the tip is. You just come down here, trace along the bone, and once you see the thigh bone like that, trace along the back side. Like I said, this looks like a great big intimidating process. It's really not, okay? It's just a little time consuming if you've never done it. But listen, anything worth doing is worth taking the time to do right. So then again, you're gonna see where the joint wants to separate. You just cut right in between that joint. There's your thigh bone out. We'll do the same thing to the other side. This up, okay? Once you find that joint, just cut right through the middle of it. Then let gravity pick it up. Let gravity pull it away from you. And there you go, nice clean thigh bone. Now, we're gonna do the same thing to a duck and a chicken, but the only difference is the duck and the chicken, we're gonna take the wingtips off to the drumette and bone the drumette out. Same way you're doing the thigh, and you're gonna bone out the drumsticks too, because that has to be boneless to go in here. To bone out the drumsticks, just trace down the bone, pop the bone out. So I'll be back once I get all that done, and I'll show you how to truss the whole thing together. Okay folks, we're back. We got the turkey done, we got the chicken but deboned, and we got the duck deboned, okay? Now some people put the duck in whole deboned. I don't, okay? I put it in whole, but what I do is I try to get as much fat out of it as possible, because they can be very greasy, and while it is delicious when it's roasted whole like a duck or in parts, okay, that fat's got to render out. If that fat gets through the entire thing, it just makes it greasy and overwhelms the whole flavor of the dish. So what I do is I take the skin off the duck, remove the fat, and just use the duck meat. That way it's not too overwhelmingly greasy, okay? And I get a lot of people that like it that way when I've done it in the past, because they say, well, the last one I got was super greasy because of the duck. So that's how we avoid that, okay? So I got the stuffing, I got the duck and the chicken. Oh, I gotta open up my seasoning here. You can use whatever seasoning you like. A general all-purpose poultry seasoning is good. A lot of people like to use Cajun seasoning. This particular customer doesn't want it too spicy. So I picked a good Southern style poultry rub, okay? Got a nice flavor to it. Oh, it smells delicious, okay? So what we're gonna do is, you see these are your turkey tenderloins. You'll see them sticking right out on the back. We're gonna fold these back. We're not gonna take them out, but we're gonna fold them back. I got a little bit of this keel bone left in here I gotta pull out, okay? And again, I gotta be super careful, because you poke a hole in it, kind of defeats the whole purpose. So you're just gonna work the knife down in there, get a hold of that guy. There it comes. We're just gonna pop that out. There we go. Okay, see? So we're gonna fold those tenderloins back. We're gonna take some of this nice, delicious andouille sausage and cornbread stuffing. We're gonna put that under there and then fold that tenderloin back over like that, okay? Same thing to the other side. Fold that over. Now, I'm gonna put a light layer of stuffing in here. You don't want too much in between each layer. You want just a nice, even layer of stuffing throughout, okay? There we go, that's pretty good. Now, there's the duck. You see I left a little bit of fat in there to give some flavor. We're going to do the same thing again. A little bit of stuffing. Just I threw out, not too much. And we're going to stuff in where these thighs are too, okay? And fill that up, put that in. That you want to do a decent amount of stuffing, because that's going to help you maintain the shape of the whole thing, okay? Okay. Then the chicken. Get pretty big here, I'd say, huh? little bit of stuffing in the top of this guy. You don't want too much here, because then when you sew it up, it's going to come poking out the top like an over-inflated football. Okay. All right. We have got some big old feller here now. So this is the part where it gets a little tricky. What you've got to do is we're going to season inside generously. Well, you don't got to go crazy, but you want a good amount. It is a large piece of meat, okay? Then use a roasting needle. You can use a big sewing needle. You can even poke a hole with your boning knife and feed the string through. But what we're going to do is we're going to roll this guy up, and he is big, okay? We'll fold him up, and we're going to need, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this, okay? We're going to put this needle make sure you get enough so you don't tear out. We'll put this needle right through here, okay, right through the back. Then I'm going to put the string through, pull it through, tie it up, and repeat the whole process around and around and around, okay? That's going to pull this guy right together, okay? All right, we'll be back to show you the final product. Okay, folks, we're all done. So, we sewed up the back like a football, pulled it all together. You put one around them to truss them like a belt, just to keep a nice uniform turkey shape. That's the most important thing, is to keep a uniform turkey shape. That's why you also want it to look nice and look like a turkey. So that's why we leave just the drumstick bones attached, okay, in there. You leave your wings so you can tuck them under. Now this is all boneless all the way back to here, okay? It's all boneless all the way back to here. So all the customer has to do is simply slice, and everybody's gonna get a slice of turkey, duck, and chicken with the andouille cornbread stuffing all the way through, okay? And it cooks a lot more uniformly like that too. When you bone them out completely, when you make them completely, oh, I lost you, oh God! When you bone them out completely, they tend to take on a shape like a football. And then one side gets more too done, and the center is about perfect, but it's not the best eating experience. So, since I know this customer is putting this in a pellet smoker, I'm gonna make it nice and easy for them. Pop it in a roaster pan, season the outside real nice. See that nice stuffing right here in the front, okay? It's all ready to go. All set. Now, the piece de resistance. Is we're gonna season this up, and you always season from high, okay? I learned that from a bunch of chefs. You season from up high, because then you get a nice uniform coating of seasoning without using too much, okay? And it's a big piece of meat, so you want a good amount of seasoning on it to begin with, but you don't want it to be overly crazy. A little bit in the hand here. Rub that guy on. You get that seasoned up nice. There we go. Put that across the back. And like I said, you can use any type of poultry seasoning, whatever you care for. Okay. Now let's take a look at the final product. There we go. The belle of the ball. Okay. All ready to go. That, my friends, is the big the mighty Turducken. As always, folks, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and remember, this project may look big, it may look intimidating, it's not. All you really need is some patience, a good sharp knife like this Geiser boning knife, and some time. Folks, thanks again, and remember, Mike the Butcher and Geiser Knives are cut above the rest.